CU Under Construction has certified technicians that work in many trades, and they can handle your service needs from all project aspects with efficiency. Here today, sponsoring our segment to give us more information is Ryan. Welcome to ciLiving.
How are we doing today, Jaclyn?
Doing really well. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
So tell me a little bit about CU Under Construction.
Well, as you said, we have the trade services, but then CU Under Construction ourselves, we do a little bit of everything from new home building to decks, which we'll talk about a little bit today, to basements, additions, pretty much anything you can think of for the residential or commercial aspect of your life. We're there to help get you on the right path.
I like that. I like that it's very versatile. It's not just if you need one specific thing, you can handle everything. So let's talk a little bit about decks. I see you have brought some deck material, but what are some of the do's and don'ts if I'm thinking of putting a deck on my home?
Well, I'd say first off, especially if you live in Champaign or Bannon, the city limits and stuff, you want to have a contractor or yourself, if you're going to try to DIY it, pull permits. You know,
okay.
One of the things, the deck adds value to your house, but if you didn't permit it, then when you go to sell the house, there's a chance the city's going to tell you that you have to take it off or redo it, or the city could stop you mid-start of your own DIY project. We make sure that we work with the city and pull the permit, and then you're, you know, as you get started, it's just getting everything from the plan, from the footer all the way through to what the city specs are, and then so you have it. If you ever get an appraisal or going to sell your house, you're good to go.
And is there a right material and a wrong material? Do I just, if I want to DIY it, do I just go and get some wood, or what do I do?
I'd say there's an easier and a harder way.
Okay.
You know, the rights and wrongs really kind of depend on like how much maintenance you want to do. There's always ways you can build something wrong, but as far as having the material, the correct material, there's a lot of different materials out there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, this to me does not feel like wood. What is all of this that you've brought to show and tell us?
Yeah, so we're a Trex Pro, and what that means is that we have been certified by Trex that we do a certain number of decks a year. They actually randomly send people out because to inspect our work so that we are on their pro list. So if anybody called in or you looked their website up, we're listed there. So there's a lot of people that can install this. We are also just backed by the manufacturer. Trex material itself is a composite material.
Okay.
So it's one you can feel. This one you have is called Transcends, which is a little smoother. People really like this, like kind of by a pool, or like as you can see on there and stuff. This has more of the wood grain look.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I can feel the difference.
Feel the difference.
So to me, this first one feels a little bit like you would want to walk barefoot and you would want to put it by a pool. This one feels more like a traditional deck, but I feel like without the splinters. So this is the splinter-free version of a wooden deck.
Exactly. And none of these here show, like, will show screws or anything, so they're all hidden fasteners.
Okay.
So it stays nice and smooth, and they have a long warranty on color resistance, so they're not going to sun fade.
Okay.
And Trex themselves, it's one of the higher end decks, but they themselves really stand behind their product. And long term, you're just not going to have maintenance on it, which, you know, everyone loves that. You pay a little more up front, but 8 years when you look at your neighbor's treated deck, you may be, ooh, they're still out there staining it again.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So ultimately with this sort of gray or the deeper browns, you don't have to keep on finishing it and refinishing it and staining it. You literally install it and then just what, power wash it, and that's it?
Soap and water or power wash it. It's super simple. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and it looks great. Everyone we do, people always tell us we wish we'd have done it sooner.
Right.
We love having parties on our deck now, stuff like that.
Yeah, and then what about this? I see this is a handrail, it looks like, and this feels almost like something you would have inside your house.
Yes.
You can slide right down that.
Yes, their handrail system is great. It all locks, so you don't have splice or anything. You're never going to get a splinter on your hand or have gaps. And there's also features with this, with lights in the posts or underlighting.
Sure.
So just depending on the deck height, you know, because once we get over 10 inches, we're going to have to start putting a handrail so you're not falling off your deck.
Right.
But this also just gives a great look to the finished product.
Gotcha. And then same thing with these rails. This doesn't feel like, it's not too hard, it's not too soft. It feels like it's just the perfect.
Yep, and then we can do this in all different types of color combos, so you can match your deck. You can do the top and bottom rails in a different color, or your spindles in a different color. So you can really, depending on how creative you get, you know, you can really pull some really cool colors into your deck. And then you don't have the maintenance on it either.
All right, when is the ultimate time to build a deck? And how much, you know, sort of lead time do you need if you want it ready for the summer?
Yeah, well, it's in Illinois, you know, your best time is going to be early spring to late fall. We really don't like to put things in once it's the ground is freezing. But as far as getting on somebody's radar, right now is a great time to call here in the next month or two, because, you know, say you want that for a June or a July party, you know, if you're calling mid-May, just between materials themselves and then having the capability of having the right guys to install this beautiful deck, you're probably going to be looking at like an August deck. So we always tell people to get in a little early when they're thinking about it, so we can get the pricing, get it worked out, and they can have it for that 4th of July or Memorial Day party or something.
Right. And before we wrap real quick, you guys have a big sale coming up, right?
Yes. We did a sale last year. It worked really well. Everybody seemed to like it. So you're going to be able to save at least $1,500, if not a little more, on the Trex deck. It's going to be on our website. We're also going to have it on Facebook. Or if you just want to come out to our showroom, say that you saw us on ciLiving, you can come talk to Emily in our showroom. And she's got a couple pre-done plans, but then we'll send a sales guy out to see if those plans work, or we can design as big a deck as you want. We've got 3-story decks we've done. So.
That's amazing. Well, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all this information and for sponsoring our segment today.
Thanks for having me, Jaclyn.
And if you want more information, you can visit us on the web at ciLiving.tv after the show.